shops and services and streets and transportation, everything is provided by the people. It's all private sector money. And it was estimated in 1997 by DeSoto, just the housing, to cost, to be of value of $73 billion US. That's 13 years ago. That's the cost of investments. So there are a million of small-scale investors.
The role of local government in Australia is to enhance the health and well-being of the communities in which we work, although the emphasis that different councils place on this work can differ a lot. But generally, local governments provide a range of programs and services to the community, such as libraries, maternal and child health services, youth centres. They're also responsible for building roads and maintaining footpaths, for land use planning, and for integrated public policies as well.
What I will be presenting to you this afternoon is really a part of our study that I made together with women in the informal economy, globalizing and organizing. I will focus, although the study focused both at the budgets at the national and the local level, on how government budgets impact informal economy workers, particularly women, I will focus my presentation on Quezon City, Philippines.
The most important thing I want to just say that we are afraid also. While we are doing all these things, we are afraid. Are we getting co-opted? Are we losing our edge? We are conscious about feeling that we don't want to become an implementing organization. We are not there to implement state program. We are not there to let state get off the hook about taking responsibility for its citizens. So there is a constant conscious worry that we have.
Subsidized transport, reliable transport, women's buses, community centres, places where women can actually come for resources and share their skills and spend time, libraries, universal access to services, leisure facilities for women, affordable rentals so that women can also live where they want to live, long shopping hours.
Maria da Penha hoje vive numa cadeira de rodas.
Maria da Penha today actually lives on a wheelchair.
Está numa cadeira de rodas por ter sido espancada pelo marido.
Because she was beaten up by her husband.
E ela decidiu reagir.
And she decided to
organizou as mulheres do Brasil.
To organize the women of Brazil.
Conseguiu 1 milhão de assinaturas.
And she managed 1 million signatures.
Levou ao Congresso.
Which she took to the Congress.
E exigiu
and she demanded
que a lei fosse implantada.
That the law be made.
Tivemos então a implantação da lei.
Therefore, this law was made and executed.
Cesta básica, alimentos como forma de reparação.
Because the men who beat their women would not get food.
Through these organizations, we have done what we call community outreaches, where we mobilize the community and try to talk to the community about the safety and the need for safety for women and girls in the slum.
I spent most of the night reading through the literature that Sunita left for me a few days ago. I was in Bangalore yesterday and the day before, so I didn't get a chance, and I really spent the night awake because of what I had read. I have read a whole bunch of articles which have to do with extreme violence on women in our media. For example, the story of the woman in Kota in Rajasthan, a woman constable who was badly mutilated and murdered, and by her own colleagues, also police. So these are these media stories shock our senses.
Decisions are being made even outside our countries about the way things are developing within our countries because of the way money is flowing. How do groups like you and others who feel strongly that there has to be a change in the way cities are planned and run, how do you intervene? How do you make people listen? is there some other strategy that has to be used now, which perhaps you have not thought of because you have not factored in these things?
Now, the outcomes of the cafe, what we want to look for are concrete positive recommendations on the topic table and some suggested solutions.
There are many places in the world where women are living in ongoing conditions of violent conflict, so much so that the violence has now become, in a sense, normalized.
Violations within that private space are actually happening on the street.
They happen traffic from the rural to the urban areas.
और दूसरा ये कि जो मोबाइल में जो कैमरा है उसका भी मिसयूज होता है, वो पोछा लगा रही है, झाड़ू लगा रही है, तो निश्चित है कि वो साड़ी है तो उसको ऐसे कर लेती है, चुन्नी है तो उसको उतार के भी रख देती है कि कपड़ा कैसे रखेगी, तो उसके गलत सीन भी दिए जाते हैं।
ग्रैंड थेफ्ट ऑटो बोल के एक गेम है जिसमें आप एक लेवल क्रॉस करने के लिए आपको एक रेप करना होगा ऑन एज अ गेम, तो ये बात है कि हम क्या वैल्यूज क्या ट्रांसमिट हो रहे हैं इन गेम्स के जरिए जो इंटरनेट पे खेलते
or in university and so on, and it could be that the space is public, and again public space.
I'm really interested in how to reach boys and men to become our allies so that they actually listen to us and want to care about our issues.
Just something very simple. I just want to know how does one go about popularizing, or to use a feminist term, consciousness raise for men on the subject of masculinity. How do we make them interested in it? So when do you start? How do you start with it? How do you do it?
The big bad M word is like an elephant in the room, which is no one can see. Because for me, actually, the issue of safety is directly linked not to urban planning. It is, it is of course linked, but in a more major way, it's linked to masculinities rather than urban planning or policing. So, so in a sense, it tickles me that we don't really go for the core of it. And how do you really change masculinities, or rather counter masculinities? I think which has to be as much of a serious effort.
Domestic violence was really a private family matter. So to take it out onto the streets, and a big problem in Delhi those days was the prevalence of harassment of young brides into the family for dowry.
क्या मतलब है, खुद लेकर आओ। उफ, मैं तो परेशान हो गई हूँ। बार बार कमरे में बुलाता है, देर तक रुकने को बोलता है, लंच टाइम में भी बुलाता है और कहता है मैडम कोऑपरेट करो। नहीं कोऑपरेट करना, नहीं दोस्ती निभानी, नौकरी की सिर्फ जिम्मेदारी है निभानी।
Yeah, I can't. The gunshot gets to me so much that I'm nervous.
So,
who are you?
I'm an indigenous woman, a tribal woman, a respected community leader.
So it kind of depends on the country here, right? Yeah. Like in Canada, there would be some help for somebody who's visually impaired. We've won more of those rights. So in some cities, more than others. Being retired, what does that mean? Because some people never get the right to retire, right? Yeah. Okay, so depending again on the context in the country. Okay. So thank you all.
And it's focused on this idea of an intersecting set of social cleavages that define and shape people's power and exercise of power. And so it's not about men and women, it's about the different sites of power. So it's as much about sexuality, race, ethnicity, caste, class, and so sometimes gender is not the sort of dominating factor in shaping this experience, and sometimes it is.
They build their strength by organizing themselves, by having their saving groups all over the cities, and they kind of started a lot of exchanges between state to state within the cities. They also expanded their saving groups to other cities of Orissa.
You have been deliberating for the last 3 days that violence is a fact of every woman's life. And in my entire career as a lawyer, I've seen that violence is something that defines a woman, so to say, be it in the home, in the workplace, or anywhere else. I'm speaking from my experience, from the kind of cases that come and land on my table.
It started with a couple of conversations. It developed into a project. It developed into projects, into love, into affection, into people really. I think certainly from WeSee's point of view, the organization grew enormously through the collaboration with Jagori. We really became stronger, a greater organization. And if I can just add a word of thanks to the WeSee team, which was absolutely fabulous.
I'd like the Jagori team all to come up here. We are a pretty beautiful, large team. Not everybody is here, but to all those who are here, please come. Please, Jagori team, WeSee and Jagori team.
Yes. We women want Azadi. Our children want Azadi. From endless violence, Azadi. From helpless silence, Azadi. From unsafe cities, Azadi. From masculinities, Azadi. From women's seclusion, Azadi. From unjust exclusion, Azadi. From dirty toilets, Azadi. From unlit pavements, Azadi. From lack of caring, Azadi. From lack of sharing, Azadi. From exploitation, Azadi. From sexploitation, Azadi. From corporate plunder, Azadi. From disease and hunger, Azadi. From monocultures, Azadi. From media vultures, Azadi. From patriarchy, Azadi. From all hierarchy, Azadi. Come say it proudly, Azadi. And say it loudly, Azadi. We love it madly, Azadi.